drop these. Everybody drop these. Everybody drop these. Everybody drop these. Everybody.
Ah, he wants to go off-road!
You ain't gonna shoot that shot when you get the lane?
Yo, he was right on my ass, man.
You wide open.
Who wrote this?
I did.
Ask him if he got the letter.
Did you get the letter?
What letter?
What's up, man? About to catch a fade, huh?
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya.
Living dead.
Drop these. Everybody.
Let the hate flow through you.
All right. Here we are, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good. What's up, guys?
Good.
Right on. Cool. For anybody tuning in for the first time, this is The Real Boys. We're a movie discussion podcast. We got a whole bunch of people together to talk about stuff. Usually on Mondays, we talk about our favorite movies. On Fridays, we do something more casual, spin the wheel, or do something newly released. And this week, the wheel told us to watch 2020's live-action Disney version of Mulan. Again, released in 2020 in, I think it was a Disney Plus release for the extra $30.
Yeah.
Now it is no additional cost to watch. It is a story most of you are probably familiar with, where Hua Mulan, a girl in China, defies the order to draft males only because her father is ill. She goes in his place in disguise against a ruthless external invader, winds up kind of empowering herself, exposing herself for who she is, living her best life, and saving China in the process. This version, if you know the animated one, this version does not have any of the musical numbers, and it swaps out the mystical elements in the animated version for something that feels more appropriate for live action. May not be popular, but it's more appropriate for live action, at least in my opinion. So, guys, we got...
it was popular with me.
Sure. Yeah, we got a positive Michael Colby and Jerry and Blaze here tonight, and myself, Dylan, from Some Nobodies. Guys, how you doing?
Great.
Yeah?
Great. Yeah. The now positive Michael Colby and the always positive Jerry and Blaze.
Yeah. And the so-so Dylan, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So I take it I'm in the minority and didn't have overwhelmingly, or not overwhelmingly, but didn't have very positive reaction to this?
I wouldn't even call the reaction that I had like overly positive. I was pleasantly surprised. I was actually, well, maybe not pleasantly surprised because I'm tired of being nice to these movies on this show, but maybe I was hypnotized because this movie is gorgeous to look at. The costumes in this thing, the I forget what her name is, but like the witch lady.
I just call her the witch.
I could not take my eyes off of her when she was on the screen. Like the makeup, the everything, like the villagers in just the villages looked awesome. Like everybody looked cool. These set pieces were amazing. Like when she's riding her horse through this field and the mountains are in the background and it's sunset, I'm like, holy shit. I like everything that you look at in this movie is amazing.
You want to take a guess at the production budget for this thing?
Ooh. 30 mil.
30? Okay.
I was going to say like 130.
Wikipedia reports it as $200 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they used all of it. And
they use all of it.
and it worked
This movie,
because
it does look really good, and I had the same notes.
yeah, it looks so good.
The sets and the costume are really good in this.
The costumes and the makeup and the hair and everything. Jarian, go ahead.
2 words: visual masterpiece.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the best way to sum it up. Best way to sum it.
There was a time in like the early 2000s after Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out, and a lot of movies were trying to do this kind of thing. And I think this one may do it the best, like as far as what it looks like.
I definitely agree with that. Definitely. I completely agree with that statement. Like, this is the best type of movie like that since Crouching Tiger. Like, you know what I'm saying? In that style. Because you're right, man. Like, there was a overflow of Crouching Tiger-esque movies after that, and none of them were even close. I don't know if it was just budget or what.
I mean, I'm sure not too many of them had $200 million to work with.
No, I'm talking about the original Crouching Tiger. I wonder how much.
I'm talking about the movies after that didn't have the 200 million to work with.
But I also think this one was more appreciated too because it's been so long since that first one.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't even, we have a lot of adults now that don't even know what Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, we got a whole nother generation that's like seeing this and thinking that this is now Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You know what I'm saying? They're going to go back and see that, or somebody's going to be talking about that and be like, you mean like Mulan? Like, no, I mean like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
The closest, go for it, Michael.
I think this is the closest, but I don't know if people remember that when, after Crouching Tiger came out, it was like 5 years and everybody was just trying to recapture that magic. And
that wire foo.
The wire stuff, it was always a failure though.
The most modern version of that I can think of that worked in my mind was the TV show Into the Badlands. It does a lot of kung fu, wire fu stuff. Jarian knows what I'm talking about.
Hey. I knew I liked you for a reason, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my sneaky favorite shows, man. I tell
best show
about
AMC has put out in the past however long they've been around, man. It's fantastic. And it is kung fu, martial arts, wire fu. You get into some real wuxia stuff like later on. And this stuff had some of that. I did think it was interesting to give her chi as a Jedi ability as opposed to the original. In the original, she's not magic at all.
And it was weird because, they go on about the chi, and the witch lady uses all sorts of magic, like turning into a bird and turning into a bunch of bats. And her fight scene at the beginning when she's like whipping her like long
her sleeves.
Yeah. Amazing. And then Mulan doesn't do really anything with it. Like, she does very practical, kicking the spear and, catching the arrows and stuff, which is all very cool. But if you're going to give her an ability that gives you literal magic, like, I want to see her use some literal magic.
Well, heroes in general aren't like magical unless everybody in the setting is magical. It goes back to like Conan, where the hero was a dude with a sword and the bad guys were generally magical. And we're still seeing some echoes of that here, where like you have Harry Potter where everybody's magical, but you have like Lord of the Rings where the hobbits aren't overtly magical and nobody's magic, but all the bad guys are wizards except for Gandalf. So you see this woman who is like she's kind of an anti-hero. She's at least she's at least not a straight up villain, using all this really intense and very cool magic. And I'm a huge fan of different like portrayals of magic beyond just lightning or bursts of light.
Yeah.
So seeing someone like use her sleeves like whips or turn into a swarm of bats, it's like, cool. This is the type of mysticism that I'm really into. there are some moments where I'm like, you should have turned into a swarm of bats instead of a single bird to catch that arrow, maybe. But you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, her
Basically,
getting
Dylan is saying he
dispatched.
doesn't want to see that weak level 3 BS magic on the screen.
No, get to level 5. Show me a fireball.
Yeah. You need some extra spell slots for the.
Yeah.
I mean, but she's got them because turning into a swarm of bats like that is high level shit.
It's like 7th level druid
Yeah.
stuff. So if you're not familiar with the Mulan story, this one is pretty straightforward. You open up with her village. She's a kid. She has magic powers that let her Jedi bounce all over the place. She's got great balance. Her family is nice. The Empire's under attack by northern invaders. They're not the same group of people from the first movie. They changed it.
You want to talk about cool costumes, though? Those guys look awesome.
So their introduction,
on their black horses,
when they charge towards the city and run up the wall, I'm like, this is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Man, let me say this though: out of all the new live action remakes that Disney had, this was the one I was most excited about. Believe it or not, like when I saw the initial trailer and everything, I was like, okay, like, and it was probably the Crouching Tiger in me. But I was just like, this looks good. It didn't live up, as good as I thought it was going to be, but it was still a pretty good film, man. Yeah. Still a very good live action remake.
But we learned that the Empire's under attack by Bori Khan and I don't remember the name they give him, but the Northern Invaders. Right. We learned that the Emperor and Bori Khan have a dark history together. There's some mutual death of families in there. Advanced time, Mulan is now a young woman. She's getting match made. She doesn't want to, clearly. And then the Imperial conscriptors, or the Imperials, come in and conscript all the men. And her dad is not going to make it because he's injured from his old war injuries. So she steals his armor, steals his sword, dresses up like a man, and takes his place. She goes through training. You got a long training montage of her.
This is the part of the movie that was like, all right, this is a little bit too much of this. This training stuff is long and it drags.
And it doesn't have in the original animated one, the training montage had a lot of character moments, a lot of character introductions. The characters in the animated one stick out way stronger than the ones in this. I don't care about Cricket or any of the other conscripts who have names and I don't remember them.
Yeah, those guys all have very good comedic lines. Like when they're being funny, they're being funny. I laughed at a couple of the things that they said or did at the end there where they're like, we'll fight for each other. We're all going to make it. And then you see they're fighting in that corridor after she closes the door. And then you see like the one guy and you think he's dead and then he breathes. And I was actually relieved. Like, so somehow they did work in, making me care about these characters, even though they're not doing anything.
While we're on the subject, favorite character is the, I can't remember his name, but he's kind of the heavy set trainee guy. One of the guys. You know what I'm talking about? Because
the one with the facial hair or the one without the facial hair?
The one without. The one without. He was the funniest one.
Yeah, he was the one that they thought was dead there in that scene.
Yes.
Cricket?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was my favorite character of the whole movie.
Yeah. My favorite.
He was definitely the funniest one. He definitely had the most good lines, and like I said, I did care when I thought that he was dead. Like I was a little bit sad until he started breathing, and I was like, oh good.
But we see them train for a long time. Bori Khan and his people attack some cities, so the army gets sent out. There's a big fight. Mulan reveals herself, gets separated, meets up with the witch, who's like, hey, your chi can't be unlocked so long as you're lying to people. So you should die first. And then, it's like so-and-so died, but Mulan stayed behind. So she comes back with her hair down and she does some flips and kicks and stuff. And we follow the beats from the original movie where originally they're like, no, you can't come with us. You've dishonored us. Avalanche happens. She rejoins with them. They go to the Imperial City, fight off the bad guys. Emperor's like, yeah, you did some dishonorable stuff, but I would be dead otherwise, so I guess it's cool. Then she goes back to her family, and they're all, her dad's like, I only cared about you and not your armor or sword. And then the movie's over.
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah. I mean, a lot of stuff that happens in this movie is very stuff that happens in a movie to make the movie go.
right.
There's very few story beats that are like very original or anything. But again, everything looked so cool. And again, that scene where, the father meets up and you get into the middle of the thing, and they never really set up anything that would make you feel like this was about to be like a clash between the two of them, because through the whole movie, that he cares about her and she cares about him. There was never all the fighting was like superficial fighting. So like you knew that they were not gonna like have a fight or anything in the middle. That they were just gonna make up, but it was still nice when it happened. I was still like, this is very effective manipulating of my emotions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as like that goes, I don't like, it's pretty conventional as far as like, if you had removed this from the original animated movie, and if you would just like not have that happen, this would be a perfectly functional like Disney action adventure film. But I think without the nostalgia, it would come across as really dull in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean,
when action's not happening or someone's not cracking a joke, which I felt like there probably could have been more humor in here, which was provided in the original by Eddie Murphy as the dragon. I think without the benefit of being a pre-existing story, this would have been taken as a really dull movie.
Well, now probably yes. But this very much follows that Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon formula, because even in those, you remember those big action sequences, but you might forget that there's a lot of slow, boring parts in those movies as well. So this is, when I say this is from that 5-year period where everything was trying to be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, it takes 100% of it from those movies. Yeah. There's nothing, and I was even thinking that while I'm watching this, I'm like, I don't know why they made this Mulan. Like I guess Disney had to make it since they had a $200 million budget. So yeah, making it a Mulan was probably the thing that they had to do with it, but it didn't have to be Mulan. It could have been a 2020 wire fu action movie, and it would have been exactly as effective as it was.
I mean, production of this movie, I believe it went into development before COVID, and then obviously COVID screwed it up badly. They were banking on China box office for this thing to like turn a profit, and China did not like this.
Oh, really?
Reviews from China were really pretty low. Like we're talking like 40% and stuff like that. Whether it's attachment to the original, a lot of the reviews I saw kind of like that it's kind of boring characters and it misrepresents Chi, which it's a Western-made movie. You're always going to misrepresent Chi. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Like I kind of get it. I'm a little more lukewarm on this than I think either of you guys are, and I don't think it's not like I didn't go into this with hyper negative expectations, but I'm watching it and I'm like, could have done more. Could have made it a little more. Like I like the original a lot, admittedly.
Yeah, I never saw the original. But when you say they take out songs, I'm already higher on it than I would have been. And when you say that they
thing for kids.
Yeah, I know, but I even when I was a kid, I didn't like the songs from Disney movies.
The Mulan songs are all pretty good. I'll go to bat for him.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna fight you on it because, like I said, I never saw it. But so I don't know. I probably have heard one or two of the songs, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. And you also tell me that they're taking out an obnoxious comic relief character voiced by Eddie Murphy. I'm in for that as well because I'm not a fan of obnoxious comic relief characters voiced by Eddie Murphy.
You weren't a fan of Donkey?
No, I hate those Shrek movies.
Oh man! Stop the show! Stop the show! That's it. I knew it. All the
Michael,
positive work I put into this man. It's just
Michael,
outstanding.
You better check yourself before you Shrek yourself.
Oh my gosh! But you really got to see the original one, man. I mean, you got to see.
I've seen the first 3 Shrek movies, and
no, I'm talking about the original Mulan. So you can see.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'll maybe watch it. Maybe I'll take a week off of the show so I have some private movie time for something I don't have to talk about.
They remove a companion dragon voiced by Eddie Murphy.
And they replace it with a pointless phoenix.
With the phoenix that doesn't, if it floats around, it takes up screen time.
It's useless.
And they took out, in the original, there's a little, it's not a talking cricket, but it's a cricket that's like a lucky cricket, and it hangs around and emotes and makes puppy dog eyes, and it's the voiceless animal companion. That one I'm not so attached to, but this movie I think it just needed a bit more character. It looked great, but the minute it's like those this food they make for advertisements, or it looks fantastic, and then it's been overcooked behind the scenes, and it's got the bun glued on
styrofoam, and the milk is just Elmer's glue.
The ice cream is mashed potatoes.
It's technically edible, but you wouldn't want to eat it.
I
mean I totally agree with that, because the movie and if they did some animal shit with Mulan, with her, because they do in the very beginning show those rabbits running right beside while she's riding a horse. So it's like, oh, she's going to have some sort of, animal powers where the animals want to be around her like she's Snow White or something. But they never did anything with that either.
And like you said, there's a $200 million budget, man. So they could have done a little CGI. They could have made the dragon very small and just put that little thing on her shoulder. He came in every 30 minutes. Was a couple one-liners, and him between him and the other character, that filled in that little space. Or like you threw that little dragon in that training montage. Come on, man. Comic relief. It would have just made that scene just go by very smooth, man. Eddie Murphy or anybody, just some humor in there, a little CGI character.
I mean, dragon doesn't even have to talk. I would have been cool with a dragon just kind of like a little like snake-like Eastern style dragon just hanging around. Even some slapstick, I'm fine with. But
they definitely hinted at the dragon stuff, because I don't know if you noticed, but like whenever there was a dragon in a shot, like whether it was in front of the palace or when they were doing like the celebration at the end, but they showed a bunch of dragons that, I mean, obviously I've seen what the dragon from the original looks like. Like I know what he looks like. And they had like 3 or 4 dragons that look like that. And it was always very prominent in the shot that they were showing. So they were like, remember the dragon that was in the original? We sort of have that.
Yeah, like they're like, this is the best you're going to get, basically. All the people who are
pretty much.
Where's the dragon? Where's the dragon? They're like, here, shut up. Like that's basically what that was.
Now I will say the villain in the live action version is way better than the one in the original. In the animated one, the villain only has like 3 lines, I want to say, and otherwise he just kind of grimaces. This one, Buri Khan, is like developed into a character. And the witch is a character who like they have their own dynamic going on, and he has a dynamic with the emperor. And I really like the guy who played him. I really like the actor. He seemed like he was having a really good time.
Yeah, they did the thing that I complain about probably the most when I'm watching a movie, is when they don't develop the villains. I hate that. I hate it when you get a villain and you don't know anything but the fact that they're evil and our good guys are, they're against our good guys. But they went the opposite way and didn't really develop our heroes, and they didn't show the villains enough for all of that character development to pay off. There's definitely an imbalance in this movie, and if it didn't look so goddamn gorgeous, I wouldn't have liked it as much as I did. But I was hypnotized by everything that I'm looking at in this movie.
I was gonna say something I had forgot, but it goes back to the dragon part we were just talking about. Maybe possibly they didn't do any CGI or dragon stuff because Disney was releasing that Raya and the Dragon shortly after. That's the only thing I could kind of think of. They're like, oh man, we got a whole movie coming and dragon, because that dragon is in that movie. Like
that's true.
Like that dragon is part of that movie, like full on. So maybe they didn't want to kind of, Mulan and the dragon. That
they didn't want a double dragon.
I like what you did there.
Oh God.
God, where is the rim shot effect when you need one?
God. Yeah, where's the podcast mogul?
Phil, you know what? 3-show suspension. Hand it down.
Yeah, right.
If we got suspended for doing bad puns on this show, Dylan would never be on the show.
I'd just be backstage the entire. Actually, that kind of works. All right. Oh, well, bummer, guys. You guys got it this week, so I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about this movie because everything that everybody said about it is right. It's derivative. Nothing new happens in here. But it's wonderful to look at. We got weird, like very weird character development because those villains are in there. But when they're on screen, that dynamic between the main guy and the witch, and he's like, she has so much power, but he's just bossing her around and she could kill him at any second. But for some reason, she's not, because she wants something out of him. And I imagine it has something to do with the fact that she's going to have to sacrifice herself at the end, which was really, really wow. Like it takes one really arrow to her in bird form. Like,
hey man, that's what happens when you have a D4 hit die.
It was. She critical missed on that saving throw.
It's an issue I have with a lot of portrayals of magic and fantasy on like a wider genre thing, where you show her doing all these fantastical things, including turning into a swarm of bats that is large enough to assault an entire army.
Mm-hmm.
And then in order to stop an arrow, she throws herself in front of it. It's like,
she could have whipped. I mean, she was falling. She could have whipped it with one of her sleeves and then turned into the bird. Like, there's 50 things that she could have done that would have not ended up costing her her life.
Turn into a swarm of bats and have one of your bats take it. When you turn back into a human being, you're missing like a fingernail or something.
An earlobe.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how that bat thing worked either. Because
don't worry about it.
She turned into a lot of bats.
A
Yeah.
completely unrelated topic. I'm a little mad that nobody has said anything about my handle right there. Just gonna throw that out there. But anyways, back to the show.
I still don't get it.
I know who Valzad is. I don't remember how it relates to this movie.
It doesn't relate to the movie at all. Nothing. At all.
Yeah, okay. Nobody commented on mine either, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
I thought yours was great, and then I was reading Michael's, First of all, Dylan has the best one. Dylan won the handle war of the show.
Yeah.
We had one. That's great. That's great. Michael is usually the handle king.
Well, right tonight he's the
inspired
Michelin
me to
man.
Throw something out there. I was trying to test our nerddom on the show, and thank you, Dylan, for getting it. Michael, I'm a little disappointed. You don't know who Val Zod is.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. Google.
I probably might know, but
You probably
a
do.
lot of times references miss me until I think about it, and then 3 days later I'll be like, oh, that's what that was.
He's Idris Elba from Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, see, I didn't see that
Black
either.
Superman.
Okay, well, I mean, okay.
Right. Never mind. We'll edit this out for the podcast.
Let's get rid of this
I
whole
like that
part
movie.
where
I got it. I was just being quiet because I was trying to see if Michael was going to bite. I didn't know if he got it or not. You got a Superman shirt on. I mean,
I do. And let me tell you something about this Superman shirt.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something about this.
It was the shirt.
I bought this Superman shirt at a Goodwill for $4 just because it's long. I'm tall, and a lot of times, if I lift my arms up, my belly shows when I'm wearing.
All right,
shirt.
it's not a competition.
So I'll buy anything that.
Get it, Michael. You don't have to stretch. You don't have to get a ladder to reach the top shelf. Good for you.
No, I don't. And I'll tell you what, the amount of times that I reach stuff for short people at the grocery store is I'm going to say 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm at the grocery store and somebody's like, can you get this box of cereal for me? Yeah, I'll get it, you fucking short ass piece of shit. Anyway, we're talking about a movie here.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, I mean,
allegedly.
We're pretty much done.
I mean,
yeah.
Has there been anything we haven't hit up that you guys want to talk about? The action scenes, Michael?
The action scenes were very cool. The only one that I didn't like was that first sort of fight scene where they kept tilting the camera 45 degrees when they started running up the walls. And I was like, oh God, are we going to do this the entire movie? Because I'm about to throw up.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. I like camera movements to show supernatural stuff, like when she possesses people at the beginning and it kind of slowly tilts upside down to show her possessing the guy, or when it turns to have them run up the wall. Yeah. What I disliked about the action scenes, a lot of cuts on these action scenes where I was like, you've got all these opportunities for really good choreo. You have a reason to do really intense choreography here.
Yes.
Let the camera linger so we can see these people do a full motion. Let the phrase complete before you change it. But it is, especially when I like the scene where she's using her sleeve, the witch is using the sleeves to wrap people around and stuff. But man, I'm watching this and I'm going cut.
Yeah.
Cut.
Yeah.
And I know why they did it, but you can also choreograph it so you don't have to that often.
Yeah. Well, they did it a lot in all of the big battles, but when there was a one-on-one, there was a lot that last fight sequence between the main villain and Mulan, when they're going up and down that tower and she's on the bamboo poles and he's cutting them down. That's all very long, but it was just when there's 10, I'm going to put in quotes, main characters on the screen, and they're fighting a bunch of, guys who are running up walls. Yeah, they're cutting all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe they couldn't choreograph those big battles, or else they were trying to do something where they were trying to show the franticness because of how many people were fighting at that time. But the one-on-one fight scenes were all, longer cuts. and very good choreography as well. That last fight sequence where she's going, where they're both like sort of trying to get up to the Emperor either to save or kill him. That was a really cool scene. And this movie also did the thing where it has a very slow first half, and then the second half is so good that it sort of makes you forget about that boring first half.
Yeah.
It did a real Forrest Gump thing where, that first half was like slow and dragging, and then they pay a lot of stuff off.
I like that final fight scene, and I especially liked how the villain went out with the arrow catch. Like, I'm a huge fan of arrow catching. I'm a huge fan of arrow catches in media. I love it. I think it's a great display of like your character is like skilled, and we're not sure if it's magic or not, but it's cool enough. And there was a lot of that in this, and I think having that be the way the villain like fails is really good. I was worried when she cuts the rope and he falls. I'm like, Disney death. It's not technically her fault because he falls to, but then she kicks the arrow at him, and I'm like, cool. Mulan murdered the bad guy. All right.
Yeah, I actually thought he was gonna that like pool of lava that the sword goes into. I thought that's where he was headed.
Yeah.
But that action's the fight at the beginning, the first time he catches the arrow, and then just like puts it into his own bow and then takes out the dudes with their own arrow, like so cool when they're like flipping around to backwards on their horses and like taking out 3 and 4 dudes at a time, like super cool. It was I did go into this with very low expectations because everybody that I talked to was like, oh, this is terrible. A lot of it was because, they took out the goofiness, they took out all the magic and stuff, and they definitely did not take out all the magic. But people are like, oh, there wasn't as much magic. So I did go into it. I was like, oh, this is 2 hours. Why are all of these movies 2 hours? And can I just say my catchphrase now? I could have gotten this movie down to 90 minutes and it would have done all the same things. But it didn't have to be 2 hours, but it also didn't feel like 2 hours.
Michael, if you don't put that on a t-shirt and start selling it, man, you're just doing yourself this disservice. I wish I had thought that. I'd had that on a t-shirt 4 episodes ago.
We've got that list of little like Real Boys merch we haven't done anything with. But, that
is got shirt right there. I could have cut this to 90 minutes. That's
I could have made this movie 90 minutes.
Man, that's a good one.
And then just a big old picture of my face on the back.
Well, hey, let's not go too far. We want to tell the truth.
We'll put that on the one with the foot with the nail in the stairs from A Quiet Place.
Oh man, yeah.
I will definitely purchase a nail out of the stairs Quiet Place shirt.
I survived the nail stare 2014 or whatever year the movie came out.
That has a picture of her foot like stepping down onto the nail.
Yeah. All right,
poor
guys.
Chris Harvey in his terrible first movie.
He took the brunt of the entire show. So
he's got broad shoulders. He could take it.
He can take it. So we got a Casual Friday in the bag, maybe. Like I don't know if we have anything else to say about this movie with just the 3 of us.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, it's definitely worth watching. This is. Yeah. I think this is a movie that I usually don't watch movies more than once, but I think I could definitely see myself sitting down and watching this again, even though it's not spectacular. It's a spectacle.
There's a lot to look at in this. And I think if you can look at it without getting too worried about not getting bored, I think if visuals are all you want, this is great to put on at low volume while you're doing something else.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's always something to look at in here.
Yeah.
I might make myself just a photo album of the costumes of the witch lady just to flip through every once in a while, because I cannot get over how cool she looked. Like they're showing her boots and they got like studs and straps all over them, and like she looks so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Visual masterpiece, man.
Yeah, and then after she dies, like they show Mulan holding her, and they like pan up, and the sleeves are out, and she looks like a bird. And I thought that was really cool. But yeah, that's all there is to this movie. It's just what it looks like.
Yeah. So, do we want to get into reels real quick? We got a little bit of an announcement for our next week's Friday show, because that's in a bit of a special circumstance. We want to do reels, and then we'll say what we're doing next.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool. All right, Jarian, start us off. What are you thinking?
Firm 7. Like I said, I was definitely looking forward to this remake the most out of all of them. Maybe this and maybe the Aladdin one I was looking forward to. But I'm going to give it a 7. I think they could have done just maybe I would have liked a little bit more comedy in there, but visual masterpiece, like I've said the whole episode. So 7. Definitely watch it. Glad I didn't pay $30 for it though. I will say.
Yeah.
I'd have been mad as hell. I'd have been mad as hell if I'd have paid the $30 for that. But yeah, hey, Jerry and Blaze, the Cloud Chronicles, man. The Real Boys also. Bet That Podcast Thursdays with Dan and Jerry, and also peace.
Yeah, right on. And Michael, what are you thinking?
I'm also going to give this a 7. Again, it was just something. It's a spectacle. It is gorgeous. It may be the best looking movie I've ever seen. Every single shot, this is like Kubrick level of every shot is gorgeous. And I don't know, maybe I'm being hyperbolic because it sounds insane when I say that, but really I was in awe of what I was looking at the whole time I was watching this movie. It's got a very, if you've seen, Chinese wire fu, kung fu movies, if you grew up with those like 70s, all those movies that the Wu-Tang Clan is obsessed with, there's nothing in here that you haven't seen before, but you've never seen it look like this before. So it's definitely up there for me. So yeah, again, a 7. And I'm Michael Colby. I got Jack Billings. I keep teasing Jack Billings presents Haunted Apartment Complex, but we are just about like maybe by next Friday. We'll have the episode starting to come out. That's going to be sooner than even I'm prepared for. Generation Clash, No Time to Binge, I Love This Terrible Game, and of course The Real Boys every Monday and Friday. This is slowly becoming my and Dylan and Jarian's show, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. You got your pillars, and then you build the fun stuff on top of them.
Yeah, we'll get this. We'll get special guest stars, Chris Harvey and Justin Wallace every once in a while.
Yeah,
we have to pay those guys to be on. That's why they're not here.
Yeah, they're professionals. We're hobbyists.
They're so expensive. You would think that for guys who didn't bring that much to the table, they wouldn't cost that much.
Oh, yikes. All right. So my opinion on this movie, I'm giving this a straight 6. I think it's competently made. It looks great. It's a little bland. There's not a lot going on under the hood, but if you got 2 hours to kill, I don't see why not. I maybe watch the original instead if you're really into like the whimsy of Disney. I think the original does whimsy way better. So 6 out of 10 for me. That gives us about 20 out of 30 total for this show. 6.7 reels seems on the high end of fair for me, at least.
Yeah,
but it's fine. I think it probably feels more authentic than most of the rest of the Disney live action stuff. Like I said, I'm Dylan from Sun Nobodies. You can catch me and Zach on our Tuesday show, Twitching Upstream, Sunday show, Talking Upstream, No Time to Binge, this show, and then check out Silicon Angels and CYOP Appeal if you want something that's a little more involved than just listening to it. And, of course, The Real Boys, which is what you just finished listening to. We've got shows every Monday and every Friday. Every Monday, we do our favorite movies, top 5, counting down. This Monday is Chris Harvey, number 2 favorite, Collateral number 3 favorite, Collateral Beauty. I can't count. I'm a writer. He will be hosting. We'll have whoever we have on. It's a Will Smith show. It's, you know what I mean. It's a Will Smith movie about ghosts. Maybe. I don't know.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it. And then Friday, we are doing something special. The Scene Snobs Network that we are a part of, run by Mick Manhattan, is doing a charity drive for Help the Milbys. The Milby family needs some financial assistance. So we are having a 12-hour streamathon from 2 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. Eastern. You can catch a whole bunch of great shows doing their stuff when they're available. If you want to come see the Real Boys, and I know you do, we are on at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be talking about Back to the Future. Classic. I love it. I can tell you already, this is going to be a really high-rated movie for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. When the Blu-rays for the trilogy came out, we rewatched it, and I was like, I can't believe how well these hold up. I didn't think that these things were going to hold up, but, I mean, Christopher Lloyd, fucking top-notch.
Michael J. Fox at his charismatic peak.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, really good movies. Anybody who says anything different is wrong, Dan Levely.
You can come hear us talk about those before the inevitable announcement of a reboot or soft sequel or something about that's probably going to come out in the next few years. I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'll probably talk about it when it does. Until then, Real Boys, Monday nights, Friday nights. You can listen to this in audio version if you don't want to catch all of our hilarious facial reactions and the tags we use on our StreamYard. I know you do. Look at these faces. Who wouldn't want to look at them? All right, and I think that's all we got this week. Everybody take it easy out there, and be well. All right, I'm cutting it there. We're done.
Drop these. Everybody drop these. Everybody drop these. Everybody drop these. Everybody.
He wants to go off-road!
You ain't gonna shoot that shot when you get the land?
Yo, he was right on my ass, man.
You wide open.
Who wrote this?
I did.
Ask him if he got the letter.
Did you get the letter?
What letter?
What's up, man? About to catch a fade, huh?
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya.
Living dead.
Drop these. Everybody